My husband said I was overreacting. My friends said I ruined the trip. His family said I was insecure. At some point, I started wondering if everyone around me just needed someone to blame. I'm 27. My husband, Amir, is 25. We have been married for 2 years and have a 10-month-old daughter. Our marriage started with pressure, not from him, from his family. They were polite enough in public, but I always knew they did not think I was the kind of wife they wanted for him. Too independent, not traditional enough, not religious enough, too direct, too modern. I heard those words in different forms for years, sometimes said gently, sometimes not. We currently live in his grandmother's house because rent is ridiculous and we are trying to save money. The house is big, 5 bedrooms, relatives coming and going, aunts staying for weeks, cousins sleeping over during holidays. Technically, it is not my house. Emotionally, I am reminded of that almost every day. I work from home at night, 8 in the evening to 5 in the morning. Then I sleep a few hours, wake up, and take over with the baby. We hired a nanny using my salary because I physically could not do everything alone. Amir helps when he is home, but the house itself belongs to his family's opinions. Everyone has something to say. How I feed my daughter, how I dress, how often I pray, whether the nanny holds the baby too much, whether I work too late, whether I sleep too late. I am always being evaluated. A few months ago, his aunt announced they were bringing in a young live-in helper from another province. I said we did not need another helper. We already had the nanny. His aunt said, "She will help the helper." I said, "That does not make sense." She said, "Don't worry, we will pay her." That was not the point. The point was that another person was being added to the house I already barely felt belonged to me, without asking me. Then, I overheard the same aunt calling Amir privately. I was sitting beside him on the bed while he had the phone on speaker, though she clearly did not realize that. She said, "She's very pretty, by the way." I looked at him immediately. He looked uncomfortable. Not guilty, uncomfortable. I asked later why that needed to be mentioned. He said, "That's just how my aunt talks." I hated that answer because in his family, every uncomfortable thing gets excused as just how they are. I told him I did not want a young woman living in the same house with us when his family already treats me like I am not good enough. He said he understood. He even told his aunt not to bring her. But they brought her anyway during a family gathering. Not permanently at first, just enough for me to meet her. Her name was Layla. She was 22, pretty in the exact way people notice. Soft voice, bright smile, quiet confidence, always looking down after people looked at her. Maybe she was just shy. Maybe I was already defensive. Both can be true. During the gathering, I was helping arrange food with another wife in the family. Layla was supposed to be helping too. Instead, she floated around the house like a guest, laughing with cousins, sitting inside the air-conditioned car while younger relatives sat outside in the heat, smiling at people. And every time I looked up, she seemed to be near Amir, not touching him, not flirting in any obvious way, just present, close enough for my stomach to stay tight. I told Amir I felt uncomfortable. I expected reassurance. I expected him to say, "I see why this feels bad." Instead, he sighed. He said, "Please don't start this here." That hurt more than if he had argued, because it meant my discomfort was the embarrassment, not the situation. I went upstairs with the baby before I cried in front of everyone. Amir stayed downstairs for almost an hour. When he finally came up, he said, "You made things awkward." I said, Your family brought someone into our home after I said no. He said, "She isn't in our home. She's just visiting." I said, "That is how your family starts everything." He did not answer. The worst part is that this was not the only place I felt like the difficult one. Around the same time, my two oldest friends cut me off, Sarah and Mina. We had known each other since high school. Last year, we went on a trip together after barely seeing each other for a long time. It should have been fun. It was not. They wanted shopping, beauty treatments, expensive cafes, and pictures. I wanted museums, old streets, local food, and quiet mornings. Every compromise somehow became my fault. If I did not want to spend money on something overpriced, I was ruining the mood. If I needed space, I was making things weird. If I chose to explore alone, I was abandoning them. By the end, we were sharing a hotel room, but barely speaking. I thought we had moved past it. Then, months later, Sarah sent me a long message saying they both felt like they had to take care of me the entire trip. That stunned me. I had traveled by myself before. I had paid my own way. I had made my own plans when theirs did not include me. But somehow I had become the burden in their version. Then Mina blocked me, just like that. 12 years of friendship, rewritten as one inconvenient vacation. So, when Amir's family started calling me insecure about Layla, it landed on an already bruised place. Because suddenly the same pattern was everywhere. If I was uncomfortable, I was dramatic. If I wanted a say, I was controlling. If I did not enjoy what everyone else enjoyed, I was difficult. If I removed myself, I was rude. Every version ended with me being the problem. The turning point happened 2 weeks later. Amir's aunt announced that Layla would stay in the house temporarily because the other aunt's place was too crowded. I found out at dinner, not from Amir, from his aunt. She said it casually while passing rice. Layla will use the small room downstairs for a while. I looked at Amir. He avoided my eyes. That was when I knew he already knew. I asked, "You knew about this?" He said, "They mentioned it earlier." I said, "And you didn't tell me?" His mother said, "It's not something you need to be dramatic about." I put my fork down. I said, "A woman is moving into the house where I live with my husband and baby, after I already said I was uncomfortable and nobody thought I needed to know." The table went quiet. His aunt said, "She is here to work, not steal your husband." That sentence made my face burn, because I had not said that. Not out loud, but she said it loudly enough for everyone to laugh awkwardly. I looked at Amir again. He still said nothing. So I said, "The problem is not Layla." Everyone looked surprised. I said, "The problem is that every person at this table gets a vote in my marriage except me." Amir finally said, "That's unfair." I said, "No. What's unfair is asking me to live under decisions I'm not allowed to question." That night, Amir and I had the biggest fight of our marriage. He said I humiliated him. I said he abandoned me at the table. He said I made his family sound controlling. I said, "They are controlling." He said, "They help us." I said, "Help that removes your voice is not help. It's ownership." Then he said the line I cannot forget. He said, "Maybe if you trusted me more, this wouldn't matter." I said, "I do trust you. I don't trust a family system where my no means nothing." He said nothing, because that was the truth. The next morning, I packed a bag for me and the baby and went to my mother's house. Not forever, not as a divorce threat. I just needed one space where nobody voted on my life. Amir called me selfish. His mother texted that I was using the baby as punishment. His aunt said I was proving I was never ready to be part of the family. For once, I did not reply. Update 1. Amir came over 3 days later. He looked exhausted. He said the house had been chaos since I left. Apparently, everyone had opinions about that too. I asked him if he came to bring me home or to understand why I left. He said, "Both." I said, "Then start with the second one." Update 2. We talked for hours. I told him about Sarah and Mina, about the trip, about being blamed for not fitting into their version of fun, about how familiar it felt when his family made me the problem for not accepting their decisions. He said he had not realized how isolated I felt. I believe him, but I also told him that not realizing something does not erase it. Update 3. Layla is not staying in the house. Not because his family suddenly understood, because Amir finally told them no. Properly, not gently, not vaguely, not, "My wife is uncomfortable." He said. We said no. That mattered a lot. I am not pretending everything is fixed. It is not. I still feel judged by his family. I still miss the friends I thought I had. I still hate how quickly people call a woman insecure when she notices she is being ignored. But something is clearer now. I do not need to prove I am reasonable by accepting situations that make me feel powerless. And I do not need to stay quiet just because other people are more comfortable when I am easy to dismiss. Maybe I was jealous. Maybe I was sensitive. Maybe I was tired. But I was not wrong to want a say in my own home. And if that makes me difficult, then maybe difficult is what I need to be.